just want to make sure that you can hear me. So I'll just, if you could write a Y or a yes, that would be great. And then we can start with this live trading room. Don't forget that today, later on today, we have actually the educational webinar with Tarantula. And we're going to take a look at multiple time frames, actually. And that's about 9 hours, 15 minutes from now. Okay, great. I got some confirmation here from several of you. Thank you so much for your confirmation. That's great. So don't forget about that. That's later on. But, of course, before we have that, first our live session. This is the last one of this week, actually, because I'm going to take tomorrow off. I won't be trading tomorrow. It's just, it seemed like a good day. As I said to you earlier this week, for me, I haven't had a day off, really, to be honest, the whole year. I had a trip planned in May, but that was canceled due to the weather. So it's really the first day. I thought it was a good day, good timing, because really with interest rates and NFP, it's not my favorite type of environment to trade, to be honest. But we'll take a look at the economic calendar also in a bit. Before we do that, though, please be aware of this risk disclaimer, and please take a look and read this thoroughly. Please be aware that trading Forex, but also global financial markets in general, is considered high risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Please seek the advice of an independent financial advisor for more information on that. And this video and or live webinar is for educational purposes only. So thank you for your attention on that. Once again, I welcome you to this live trading room, and we're looking at my account, my own trading money, one of my accounts at least, and where we're looking at breakout strategies, trying to do intraday swing and position trades. Although it is difficult to focus on all of them at the same time in 1.5 hours, but we'll have probably kind of like choose some specific. Well, we'll always look at intraday, but then we'll try to choose some like main topic or main strategy that we kind of focus on. Otherwise, it gets quite confusing. Breakouts, well, especially breakouts what we're looking at, okay? And those black boxes are typical clues or examples of breakouts. Make sure to follow Admiral Markets in Google, Twitter. And with that said, let's take a look at the Forex calendar. Forex calendar, we have ADP later on. That is still 5 hours, 27 minutes from now. So, but that is a biggie. Plus, we have USD initial jobless claims. That's a big one too. We have a lot of USD news actually today. Spread throughout the session. We do have services PMI, which is medium here, which I would say is maybe high as well, but that doesn't matter. It's a smaller thing. Later on, as I said, Thursday we have interest rates. Tomorrow we have Thursday interest rates on pound and euro and a day holiday in the US. And Friday, of course, the event of all events, the NFP announcement, right? So that's a biggie. That's always a trend setter and changer for the market. So be aware of that. Alrighty, let's move on to our charts, right? When looking at the chart today, to be honest, I'm not sure which one I really like the most. I think that, do you have any preference? I think that the yen could be maybe still a good continuation trade, actually. We broke that 618 fib. Remember yesterday we were looking at it, and there was someone who sold the 618 fib. I'm not sure if that person is here. It was a good attempt, but the power of the uptrend on the yen sometimes can be really overwhelming. That's why I wanted to preferably see a break of this level, to be honest, where I have the lower blue line. Also, if you look at, in retrospect, it's always good to learn from that stuff. If you look at the price action, you look at this bullish candle, and an inside candle, and then a continuation. The price action wasn't really set up yet in a way. This was just a sideways move, bullish candle, and then the 4-hour candle closed somewhere. What time was it? Hour after our session, and an inside candle like that isn't good. So, that was a big blast to the 618 with a lot of power there, and the next target could be this 786, to be honest. Okay, we stopped at the 50, we stopped at the 618. So the next one would be the 786, which is 101.50-ish. If you fib this first move up from here to here, we got a 382 bounce, and the 272 and the 618, minus 272 and the 618 are lined up, just like the minus 618 and the 786 are lined up. All right. Yesterday was a very bullish day as well. So that could seem interesting to me if we then zoom in maybe to the 1 hour chart, and a break of this top, for example, could signal that continuation to that target. The yen likes to make small moves, so something like that I was thinking. Or if it doesn't break the top and it would retrace maybe somewhere in here, halfway yesterday's candle, that could maybe still be worth an attempt on the retracement of yesterday's day candle for that upside as well. Something like that. Same target. So that was one idea I had. The dollar yen, to be honest. Anyone else see something interesting? The pound Swissy maybe still stuck in this massive wedge. I think we talked about it yesterday. Still bouncing in there. The space is really getting tight, to be honest. I mean, it's really, you can see there's not much space left in that wedge. It will have to break either the 143 or this 145, which I think is crucial. I'll take off these orange lines because I don't think they're that crucial anymore. For me, these trend lines are important, but these highs, this high and this low, those are the most crucial ones for me. All right. So below that we have this potential. Above that we have this potential, with maybe smaller trades in here. All right, that's pound Swissy. You know, that could take still a long time to break. Just wanted to give you a heads up there. So that could be interesting still. Let's take a look. Maybe I was thinking of the Euro New Zealand. Let's see. We were talking about it yesterday, I think. Pretty nice trend line here. Let me get rid of this one. It's not that needed. With this too being a big wedge, actually. Right, with top, nice bottom line. Looks like we're breaking right now, actually. Yeah, it actually broke this 15-minute fractal, or actually we broke it, bounced off it, actually. That was this hour, actually. Yeah, that's moving fast. I would have liked this break especially. That's the one I'm normally focused on, but this could be a break, pullback, continuation as well. But I like especially with the trend line like this, I like the first break more, to be honest. That's my preference, because that's even a better, you know, then you have more space to targets like that. All right. Otherwise, it's still good though, to be honest now. But I'd rather shop around a bit longer. Otherwise, you're looking at this, right? Still okay. I like the first one more, but so I'll take a look at the others. But this was a good break of this trend line and the fractal at the same time, right in here. But that happened already. So let me quickly see if there's anything else. That was a trend line we had on our chart yesterday as well, right? Let's take a look at the Euro. With that, you can see how long it takes before these things break, don't they? I mean, yesterday we had that trend line on, and it really took till half an hour ago before it finally broke. Let's see, this one broke as well, and the pound odd is breaking too. Yeah. Also, a trend line we had on. I think I remember correctly, we had it on our chart. Did anyone catch these breaks that we were talking about yesterday? This one is like a rocket. Wow. Moving very fast. Alrighty. Oh, very nice, Mark. Great job. Great job. Nice catch. Nice catch. Yeah, I mean, there is always a danger of these things moving more to the downside. But then again, if you look at the angle, it's increasing almost in speed. Now, of course, recently we did have a bigger consolidation. That's one of the reasons why I was still leery. Here I definitely could see a fall like this happen. Definitely. Just like here too, but although this correction was even bigger than this one, right? So that is something to be aware of. But if we break trend lines like that and we keep on going with the trend, they're great trades. Great job, Mark. So let's move on maybe to take a look at something else. Let's see. The yen is definitely on my watch list when it breaks. What else? Does anyone else have a preference? Maybe the Swissy break could still be interesting here, like that. Keep an eye on that one. That could be good too. Right? We were looking at that yesterday, remember? Saying that this retrace right in here is good for continuation. It's breaking this fractal. Just a small retrace. So I don't know, it depends what kind of retrace you wanted. If you wanted it all the way here, then you didn't get it. But actually, I think we were looking at, I remember looking at this one, and we said a retrace of this one, and then that could be a good upside. So that worked out well and fine, luckily. So whoever took that, was in that trade, got at least 60 pips, not a lot. But if you compare it to the risk of 20, it's still 3-1, right? So that was a good break, right at the trend line. So here too, we can wait for a break of this trend line now for a break to the upside. All right. Sorry about that. I had to sneeze there. What else was interesting? Well, yesterday I took a trade on the Aussie and Euro during the day. All right. Not sure if they're set up right now. Let's take a look. Maybe the Aussie is just continuing. That's the thing. Yesterday, remember yesterday I was looking for the Aussie short. I took it eventually. Actually, I don't know. Maybe I think within, let me take a look, half an hour probably since after we closed. Let's see. Let me take a look. Yeah, I took it 1 hour, right in here I took it, to be honest. Right here. All right. So that was like 1 hour after our session closed. What happened was, I'll tell you why, because yesterday I was saying New Zealand and Aussie short I was looking, remember? And the reason was because of this trendline break. All right, I didn't catch the first move down, but often enough that first move stops somewhere and that makes a retrace, and it's a great re-entry possibility. All right, it's just like a classical break, and here you get the pullback and continuation. So instead of taking the continuation, I took the pullback. I was looking for the pullback, but I didn't take it immediately on the fib, right? Like this. It hit the 618 to the pip, but to the T. But I took it when we broke this support level, this 15-minute bullish candle. When we broke that low, I made a small hook back here. That's where I took it, right in here, and aimed for this 272 target. All right, got hit and got, I don't know, what's the 50 pips there. So that was good. But it doesn't surprise me that we're continuing, by the way. But the thing is that we're on the roll here. It's difficult. If you're in the trade, you want to hang into maybe targets that you have set, but otherwise, it's difficult to join a rolling train, a moving train that's going 500 kilometers an hour. Difficult to jump on board. Let me say it this way. It could stop really any minute. Actually, let's look at the 5 minute. What could happen is that, let's see, it's ongoing now. It has moved already a lot actually. Anytime this doesn't break the low for 30 minutes, it's probably going to make a retrace, to be honest. So that was good. I don't know, did anyone catch this one? Or did New Zealand maybe? That too was a same setup. Remember we were looking at it yesterday. We were looking at price action here, 1 hour bar, and said, oh, it made a higher high, made a higher high. But then we did get two candles like this. Well, that's definitely a good sign. So you could take it right on the low or the retracement. Any of those are good, and you got a good trade there. Or if you were brave enough to take the exact 786 fib, but even I was waiting for a confirmation, to be honest. Although I like fibs. So that too was like the Aussie, same setup. You don't have to take both, but did anyone catch those? Any chance? Let's take a look at the pound quickly, and then we'll take a look at the euro, okay? Pound. Let's take a look at the London Open trade, but I'm afraid that, yes, that broke too, so that's not valid. In the grander scheme of things, the pound broke yesterday too, right, after our session. Actually, we were looking at that. Remember we said, if we break this low, we got to trade up to this bottom. Remember, a smaller trade I said. That's exactly what happened, right? Or if we break this high and then hook back and bounce here, that would be a good long, remember? So that's exactly what happened. Just after we closed, actually, we got that break right to the target, right? Then we were messing around here, and then we did eventually break the smaller consolidation for one more fall. And after that, we just went sideways, to be honest. Here, we didn't get any we got a 382 pullback, but we didn't go to target yet, which it seems like it's doing right now, actually. Let me just take a look at something at the 4-hour chart. The 886 is at 150.90. That's definitely a bouncing spot, especially for the pound. So that's still 40 pips. Let's see. I don't trust the pound upon breaks, as you know. So definitely good that it broke, but it will probably make some retracement now, I would say. Let's see. It is definitely potential. Let me see. All right, what I would do personally is on the pound, if it stays, I'm not sure why this chart is blocked here. I cannot zoom out more. Okay. Weird. Anyhow, if it stays, let's say, let me take a look at the Asian high and Asian low. 1 second. Let's take a look at that. Let's see. Where is that Asian high and Asian low? All right, that's about the box of that price movement. All right, in the Asian session, that's about 19 pips. That's usual. So we broke that Asian low. By 15 pips now, 14, okay. So let's see. Yeah, as usual, if it stays here, we're here 15 minutes under this low. So it needs still 1 hour 45 minutes. So that would be after our session, but unfortunately, if it stays under here that long, it's definitely good for next fall. All right, that's I would be looking for. If it pops up here within an hour, then it's really iffy. And if it does that, maybe it's actually could make a bigger retrace. But that's counter trend. That's difficult. So it depends on the motions and stuff. At the moment, I'm still careful with this GU, especially just an early break like that. But if it stays here for a while, then looks like good for a good fall. for further fall. All right. But otherwise, it's definitely good for a downtrend. Definitely has a potential to make a downside. And even if it goes through 382 or 50, those are definitely resistance spots for one more downside, all right? To be honest. All right, the target would be 150.90. All right, so that's the pound. Let's keep an eye on that. Let's see how it develops. No rush there on the pound. The euro was another trade I took actually, and that was really, I like that one a lot, to be honest. I don't think what happened there. I think that, yeah, we said when we left, unfortunately, I think it didn't break yet, but it said that if it breaks these support levels, right, that is the key bear bull line, because above that is really, it has the potential still to make that continuation up, bigger retrace, make that continuation of the 1 hour kind of mini uptrend, right, on the 1 hour chart, right, which is a retrace, of course, of the bigger trend, logically. That's why it's good to catch this break. But, you know, we were looking at this, and it had the potential to bounce in this area, right, for one more upside, for example. But these bottoms were key. And, yeah, we got a really crash when we closed. I didn't catch this sell, to be honest, this one in here. That's not the one I caught because that one was really, I didn't see much space. This one, the 130.15, was a key support, and that was the target for that 50-minute trade, which was okay, especially, I guess, the next break was okay. From here, with this, something like this, was a very small stop loss. So that made sense in a way. I didn't catch it, though. If you use this as a stop loss maybe, or even this was still 1-to-1, and it did stop there and went sideways. Then the next break here, actually it broke the 1 hour fractal as well. So there was a 50-minute trade and a 1 hour trade up to this level, which is a 4 hour fractal. All right. So but that was a small trade. I wasn't that interested in it, although it was good. But when it broke this bottom and then hooked back, this is the one I really liked a lot, to be honest. So that's the one I took, the 50 fib. After I saw this 50-minute candle, the red one in the middle, then I took it, let's see, upon the retracement of that candle somewhere halfway here. So that was the second trade I got. All right, that was good. That was good. Really, that was a real high probability setup, just because we broke this 4 hour fractal and the trend line. Broke it and hooked back. That was one of the best setups you can have. And to be honest, now it looks like we're headed towards the next fib, which is the 886, and there's a high chance of reaching that 886. That's at 130.10. There's a very high chance for that. Now the question is, when do we make a retracement first? We make a retracement first into resistance and then down, or do we break this bottom? It looks like we're breaking this bottom actually as we speak. Let's see, 129.16, broke it by 3 pips just a minute ago, or right now actually. So it looks pretty bearish now. So let's see, I would say any let's see, 5-minute world. Yeah, it looks very impulsive. I don't like breaking, that much breaking bottoms, but this one is maybe okay because of the fact that it's kind of a very small bottom with not much power to the upside. So I'm not a big fan of entering upon horizontal resistances, to be honest. I like more trend lines just because there's space to fall before you hit support. Usually if you break a bottom, sometimes you see like close and reverse actually. So in that regard, maybe break, pullback continuation is better with horizontal levels, to be honest. While with trend lines, I like immediate breaks more. So if that said, probably the best one would be to wait for a fractal here and a fractal here, and then take the next one. All right, that would be the break, pullback, continuation. It is a bit gets my preference with horizontal levels. Well, trend lines, I don't mind taking the immediate break or the pullback. But with horizontal levels, more the C part of the trade setup, all right? My opinion. But looking good. It looks like we're getting a break, so we just need to let this 5-minute world maybe settle a bit, and then the next one. That could be good too. So let me take a look at the yen again. That was my primary focus, actually. Yen is moving a bit down. Let me put a line here. Alrighty. So keeping an eye on the euro, the pound, although that probably will take some time before I enter, and the yen, euro, pound. That's it for the moment, right? Yeah. Because the Aussie, the Aussie is just moving like crazy, and either you're in that trade and you're hanging in there to profit, or look at that day candle. I don't know, that already has moved its daily range, in my opinion. That's already a 130 pip candle. Now, could it be 150? Sure, it can. But the odds are getting stacked against me. Jumping in here, it really doesn't make sense. I think everyone understands that. I mean, you can always take a smaller risk, maybe with using the candle hourly highs, but even then, it's all the way here at 90, 80. It doesn't make sense to me. It could continue still, but not worth it in my opinion. I see better opportunities, or I'd rather wait for better opportunities personally, like yesterday, all right, like somewhere in here, for example. So otherwise, anyone see something that I didn't see? Let me take a look at the comments. Graham was asking if I can review the fibs for euro dollar. We can, sure, we can do that right now actually. And Mark says that he shorted the Aussie 91.79. 79. Great job, Mark. That's exactly where I took it as well. Awesome, awesome. I took it at 91.86. It's really a small difference there. And you're still open. Wow, great job. I took my profit. I was a bit impatient. Great job, because you were really banging it more than I did. I mean, I got 50, but you're already up 120. That's really awesome. Well, if I were you, Mark, I personally would take a look at this fight. I don't know what your stop loss was, but if you had it where I had it, and it's 50 pips, no, 30 pips. Sorry, I had a 30 pip stop loss. Then I would keep an eye on this 5-minute world, and if it doesn't break the low 30 minutes in a row, wow, I'm a rhymer. If it doesn't break the low 30 minutes in a row, then I would exit upon retracement. So, for example, if it does something like this, 5 minutes, and then makes a smaller hook back here, sorry, the other way around. 1, 2, 3, 4 candles, and then makes a fifth, sixth, and you see 30 minutes it doesn't break this, I would take it off right in here. And I think you get the optimal take profit, because it will make a bigger retrace then. It could still fall, but you could always rejoin it, or at least you've booked this, because you never know, it maybe makes a bigger retracement than you expect, and where do you exit then? This is quite micromanaging, but it is the optimal moment for me, I think. I would think for you, considering your 45 pip stop loss and your 120 pips profit at the moment, if you take it out there, you maybe have 108 or 110, and that's a great 2.5 to 1 trade. All right, that's what I would do personally, because you never know. I mean, it has made a pretty big move down, and it could retrace all the way here to test this top, and all your profit is eaten away basically. Oh, great! You already took 2 out of 3. That's great. Great job. Yeah. Well, that's great. That's perfect. Still, I would, it depends on you. That's what I would do still because that's what I think is most likely. But if it's only 130, yeah, then it's up to you, of course, how much you want to risk and on that. That's always up to you, of course. But that would seem optimal to me. Like yesterday, for example, I did this live with other people. I was catching this piece here, right? When it didn't 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 candle, it didn't break. I took it off right in here, and I knew it was still gonna. I knew it was gonna make a bigger retrace, and still probably break the next, make the next fall. The only thing is that I didn't want to live through the time factor. I just wanted to catch this piece here. So, and that, you can use that time factor plus the AO when you see that this is turning, right? Which after half an hour usually does, because that is this candle, and you can see it's already green and turning here. So I took it right at the turning spot, and of course it did break later on, as I already thought. And once again, I did it with people live, so it's not in retrospect. But it did take, 3, 4 hours later, something like that. Alrighty, let's take a look at the euro, and let's take a look at the euro. Yeah, the fibs. Graham was asking. Okay. But if you have any currency you would like to see, just let me know, okay? Otherwise, I'm just going to go through all of them eventually, but if you have a preference, let me know. Otherwise, the dollar yen, maybe dollar Swiss are interesting for trendline breaks, or, yeah, continuation trades to the upside of the dollar, right? And the euro pound too, right? But the euro's making now, made a break, it's now making a pullback, right? So let's see how that goes. But Graham was asking for the fibs. Well, the main fib could be this one here. It's still important, in my opinion, because we stopped at 236, 382, 50, 618, now to 786. So the next stop would be the 886, right? So that would be an important fib. And another fib could be, let's start from the very top. That's a 382 bounce, right to targets. So in my opinion, this looks again like a 382 bounce. This should be the target, but there is a 272 in between. All right, you could also fib this as well, 618. So it depends. This one looks neat to me, but it really depends. It's a bit difficult here on the euro, to be honest. Let me take a look at the euro on this 1 hour chart with the AO. The downside is a bit funny in a way because it started so strong and then kind of weakened in a way recently because it made a bigger correction. It depends. You could really do both of them really from here or from here, but looking at the 1 hour chart, this one would make sense, right? Because of the AO, you can see clearly that this is the last move down, and this is a retrace. And now we're continuing. So in that regard, the 272 target is quite close by. We could bounce off that. If we zoom out to the 4 hour chart, it's just actually one move down here. So on the 4-hour chart, you could use this, I guess, as a fib, although it's looking funny maybe. 236 bounce, which is a very shallow bounce, because here we reach the zero line here, which is a big thing. So that is possible to fib this move down because of the fact that we hit the zero line. But the 236 is a very shallow bounce, signaling really a lot of downside pressure, and 129, this 886, is a very high probability, very, very high. Just the question is of more where to enter, when to exit. No, maybe not where to exit. Yeah, where to enter and when. Then if it's going down, that's very clear at the moment. Especially when we broke this level. The 130.16 was very key for me, or 130.14. That's why I was still careful with this break, because it was going towards support. But once it broke the support, then it was downside for me. Let's see. So recently we had actually retested that level that we broke, but I want a bigger retest. Or let me say it this way: I want a move here that stays, and then the next break. All right. This is still one movement on the 5-minute chart. Doesn't count for me. I want something that moves, gives me a fractal here on the 5-minute world and a fractal here, and then the next break. That's what I'm looking for. Okay. So Graham, was that actually? I'm looking at this because of your question. The fibs are a bit difficult. The upside fib is easy. The downside fib, the swing high, swing low, kind of funky, but that's what I would, depending on the time frame, 4 hour, 1 hour, that's, I guess, what you can look at. All right? If you have questions, let me know, okay? Brian is asking about the yen, dollar yen. An uptrend it is for sure. If you just look at the week chart, you can see higher highs, higher lows, right? Definitely. I mean, and this was a massive impulse. So even despite the 1,000 pip down, it's still a higher low on the week chart. So despite the massive trend on the day chart and 4 hour chart, this is still going back to support on the week chart, and it did bounce off there. So then on the 4 hour chart, we already had a break of this high. We already had higher lows here. But then when we broke these tops, where I have the green, blue line, we had also actually higher highs, right? So that's been an uptrend already, indeed, definitely. The only thing is that I still kept the fib on from this down move to see potential resistances. And we did stop at them, but we just kept on going up. So we stopped, but retraced, but went up. Stopped, went sideways, but went up. So definitely uptrend, definitely. I traded the yen actually to the upside upon the break of, that was last week, this trend line here, this break. But I went for a conservative target. I closed it before the weekend, that's for sure. Let's see. I went somewhere around here, around the top, so I was quite conservative. All right, but still a good R2R because the risk was only here upon the break, and the reward was then somewhere in here. Oh, so still okay, but I went for a very short trade. As you can see, sometimes it pays off to hang in there because it moved 200 pips more. That would have been a lot better R2R. Yikes. Oh my. I don't even want to count it, although I am at the moment. Yeah, that's kind of like makes it from maybe like 2.5 to 1 probably to almost a 10 to 1. Kind of. Anyhow, that's past. But if it's safe to enter now, well, what I was looking at, this, when we started this webinar, I was looking for a break of this high, but it doesn't look like we're going to do that right now, to be honest, because you can see price action is moving down. So that was my original idea, to wait for a break of this high, and then there could be a trade to 101.50, which is 786. But it doesn't look like we're going to get that. Oh, I don't have the fib on. Entry here, maybe stop loss here. That would be 60. It would be okay, I guess. Let me see the risk reward. Yeah, we like 1.5 to 1, but we're moving down, so maybe we'll get a bigger retrace of that yesterday's candle, and we could get a bounce back here. That would be cool. Let's take a look. Probably cool. Let me take a look at that. See, good bullish day candle. So any retracement back here or turn from there, or here, or here, or anywhere above yesterday's low could be a great bouncing spot for continuation. So definitely will be interested in that. Definitely. Isn't it? Making a bigger retrace. See, that's why it's that break wouldn't have worked that well, would it? It will probably bounce here. It could be actually a good retracement. This could be the break, bigger break pullback continuation. But let's see. It's a pretty steep move down, though. 50 pips within a few minutes. Probably make some consolidation here, I guess. Looking at that. I think it could bounce here, but it'll probably do something like this. If it makes a pattern like that, or even like this, and then the next break could be interesting of the 5-minute world here. There's definitely a chance we'll bounce here, but I'd rather wait for more confirmation, which means an actual bounce, hook back and break on the 5-minute world, which would be a PBC. Blue one is the bigger one. This is the bigger break, the bigger pullback, and the bigger continuation. So instead of taking the blue P, I'm waiting for a mini green BBC to identify if we're starting this C or not. So instead of taking the P, I'm trying to catch the earliest possible part of the C. If you see what I mean. So instead of assuming the P, the blue P, I am zooming into the 5 to see the first sign of the blue C via the green BBC, basically, right? Okay. So let's see. So let me summarize it for you. Otherwise, I'm afraid I'm confusing you. So maybe the Swiss C, right? Maybe the stays here for let's see. We've been under the low 10, 20, 30, 40 minutes. So still need some time factor there. Euro is moving, keeps on moving, so that was a pretty strong break. I don't like horizontal breaks that much, but it's doing pretty well. It's 20 pips under that low already. No, 17. But still, I would rather see a move here and then like that in the next break, personally. Otherwise, I'll just skip it. Pound, dollar Swiss, and Euro New Zealand. That's the ones we've looked at so far. All right, just a quick recap. You see it's still pushing through. We'll probably get a bounce, but as I said, I'd rather wait for that. So those are the 5 we've looked at so far. I just want a quick summary for you so I'm not confusing you. And we looked at the Aussie and not to trade, but for Mark, let's see, we have had 20 minutes above the high without breaking the low. So right, it's always a, but in your case, I think you already have plenty of profit. But New Zealand, but that's at the bottom, right? But those good trades yesterday. I'm glad that Mark caught the Aussie and Euro. That's exactly the two trades I took as well. Great job. I hope someone also managed to do that. So let's move on to some other charts. But before we do that, let me take just a quick look at some questions, okay? And maybe you'll find them useful too. And we'll take a look at other charts. Maybe the CAD. I want to show you the Euro CAD. There's an important update on that. We looked at the pound Swissy, by the way. Right? That's the last we also looked at. Okay. I want to show you the Euro CAD, dollar CAD still, Euro pound, maybe some yen crosses. All right, so that's still coming. And maybe take a look if there's some good 4-hour trade setups, trend lines, whatever if you have a special. But that, just a quick question from Mark. What my favorite time frame? If I see a very nice trend line, that would be my preference. That's my preference trading. I do look at other like lower time frames, but because I know that some of you looking at my charts, then you would only see me on the 1-hour, 4-hour charts, to be honest. And the only reason I would go to the 15 would be if I have a very nice trend line that's about. So the Euro New Zealand, for example, definitely would be an example where I was thinking of taking this break on the 50-minute world, right in here, because of that trend line. Kind of strange, but true. 28. Yeah, this was already like a 1.5 to 1 approximately in here, so I don't think I would be in that trade still. I don't know if I would have taken profit. It's a bit tough to tell you levels, so I'm not sure if I would have aimed necessarily for this one. I would have taken profit. If I would have aimed for this resistance level, I would have missed it. So it depends. How do I combine them? I basically use the 1-hour chart, and I find the nicest trend lines I can find. Like this one we were talking about yesterday. It looks like a cool trend line. If it's a good trend line and I want to catch a fast break, where you catch like the first break of the market, I would zoom into the 15 and wait for a fractal break right in here. So it's a fractal and a trend line at the same time. All right? So basically what you have is often you get, and this you'll see everywhere on all markets and all time frames, you'll see a move up. A move up, then you'll see resistance and then a break. But that break will last a certain time frame and a certain amount of pips. That first surge or break isn't going to last forever. It depends on the time frame you're looking at, but all of them have a certain number of candles. On the 1-hour chart, you'll use the 4 candles. In the world, last 1.5 hours to big longer than pulse. Usually, if the currency is set up that way, you could get then the continuation here. So why I'm looking for a 15-minute break of the 1-hour trend line is to optimize where I have this part of an R2R on that those green lines there, because I know the move will be on the 50-minute chart will be 50 pips, 30, 80, depends on which currency as well. So that first move up is going to be about that size, and I know that I need to have a relatively short stop loss small stop loss to catch a good R2R on that first move up. Then it goes into the sleeping phase, the red part here, this one. And then if the currency is still good, you can fib actually, as we did with the Aussie yesterday, the entire swing high, swing low, and then catch it somewhere 50 or 382 or 618, like the Aussie. Let's go to the Aussie. Aussie makes retrace, makes the first break right in here where I have the red circle. How long did that last? Let's take a look. It lasted 1, 2, 3 hours probably, right? Moved down 92.32, moved down 80 pips, right? So the first move down, first break is 80, right? In let's say 2.5 hours. Then it dies out, and you get the unavailable retrace, right? The break, the pullback, right? And then you get the continuation. So if you want to trade this part, then the 50-minute world is good with the 1 hour trendline break, because just to optimize that. But the pullback, I would trade on the 1 hour chart because I want to have the 1 hour stop loss here or here. So, but you could do that for all time frames. You could use the 4 hour world and draw a trend line there and wait for the 1 hour break. For example, this trend line here on the 4 hour chart. Let's zoom in, and let me adjust it just a bit. So you could either take a break right in here. This one is I wouldn't do because it's too far from current price, to be honest. I would say this one's better, right there. Stop loss here or here, and you get the break. This is the first break on the 4 hour world, basically, right? The 1 hour world based on the 4 hour trend line. You could use that, on all combinations. In fact, I wouldn't use 15 and 5, but you know what I mean. Here too, it lasts for a certain amount, right? It lasts 95.99. It lasts 90 pips for, well, you can see we had 1, 2, 3, 4 impulse bars, and this was just a sideways move basically after that. And then what do we get? Retrace and continuation. You'll see it everywhere. These are universal concepts on all time frames, and this is based on the 4 hour time frame, 4 hour trend line, but 1 hour entry, basically 1 hour break, right? Alrighty. So my favorite is 1 hour, 4 hours, basically. But for trend line, I will make sometimes an exception for 1 hour 15. The green indicator is 34 EMA. The violet is 144 EMA. All right. The blue one is 12. So maybe, Mark, maybe I misunderstood. You mean combine the time frames or the moving averages? Maybe maybe I missed your question, but you meant the time frames, I hope. Otherwise, I answered the wrong question. I hope so. So that's time frame. Good. So I was right. Good. So yeah, that's one way of doing that. Definitely is. For example, on the euro, yesterday why I was so confident on the euro, and I've told you about this trade setup already, actually, is what, and this is how you can use, the euro was really funny because this is how you really can use multiple things to your advantage. Does anyone remember the AO retracement to the zero line trade? Anyone remember that one? That I talked about that? Anyone in here? No one yet? No, Graham doesn't remember? Or maybe you missed that or wasn't, you weren't there when I said it. That's also possible, of course. More likely, probably. Anyone else? Ring a bell? AO trade back to 0 line. Brian missed that too. Okay. Well, that's a trade setup of mine. If you get a very strong move down like this in one direction with the AO, clearly in one direction, price also, and then you get to retrace to the 0 line here. If the next break of the 4-hour fractal is the entry and the stop loss is above the opposite fractal, and if you go for a 1-to-1, there's a roughly 70, depends, but there's up to 80% accuracy, and the low side would be 70. Depends which currency, and I said 80 last time, but I've continued with testing, and it does depend on, maybe 70 to 75 is a bit more safer assumption. All right, that's on 1-to-1. If we go for 2-to-1, the percentage hardly doesn't change much. It drops maybe to 60, 65, which basically means that you really have a better reward to risk. I mean, a better return on equity than going for a 1-to-1, to be honest. AO is awesome oscillator. So what happened was that when we broke this low, that's why it was so key for me at 130.14. Because we retraced to that 0 line. If we broke that, then I know there's a high statistical probability we are going to move at least this distance because of my back testing of 100 pips, which is basically bringing us to 129.10. So when we broke this, I made a hook back to the 50 fib. That was like a great discount, actually. That was like, a 30. That was like a 30 pip better entry here. So I took actually profit maybe too early, in fact. But I'm safest piece of the safest trade setup. I'm quite conservative, so you can definitely blame me for that. And I could have easily hung in there to 129.10 because I have that statistic saying that there's a very high likelihood of getting there. But I went for an even safer part. I went for the fib target. If you fib, as I showed you already, I went for the fib target of this move down 50 fibs, so I went for the target right here, which is very conservative. But it was very, very likely. I actually used this this high as well, not this one. That was another reason why I wanted to take profit here, because in theory, the real trade is this one, right, on the 4-hour chart. And on the 1-hour chart, I did use a different one. I used the red circle, which that's why one reason I took my profit here, just in case we would make from here a bigger retrace to the 786 and then move down, which might seem funny to you, like, that's not likely. But because I had a different stop loss there, if I would have used the wider stop loss and the correct one on the 4-hour chart, I could have gone for the bigger target for sure, because then it would have been a discounted level for the 4-hour trade, and that would be okay. But it was a 1-hour trade, so I wanted to stick to the 1-hour rules, but it was a higher probability because of the 4-hour world as well. Well, we'll talk about multiple time frames actually later on today. By coincidence, I'm already discussing it now, but all right. So anyhow, that was the 4-hour setup basically. Just to finish it, basically it's just a break of the next 4-hour fractal support. All right, above the highest fractal at the moment when the 0 line gets hit, and when you had a strong AO reading, and then there's a high probability for 2-to-1, maybe even 3-to-1. I have to do more testing on 3-to-1, but 2-to-1 is definitely 3-to-1 doesn't seem that much less than 2-to-1 either, which means that would be the best. But 2-to-1 is the moment still the safest default. 1-to-1 also okay, but seems to be a better return on equity on 4 to 1. 2 to 1, sorry. All right, so that's the 4-hour AO. So that's why that was a good trade. And but anyhow, I've been talking a lot now. In the meantime, let's take a look at what's happening. And wow, that euro sure is falling. We're not getting any. We did have a small pause here, but keeps on moving down. So maybe the Aussie is moving down as well. Yep, the Aussie made a good new low. Although it was the 7th candle, I think. Let's take a look. 2, 4, 6. Yeah, it was the 7th candle. So it's not a rocket science. I mean, it's not like always precise to the T, but usually it is approximately the 6th candle that normally doesn't break, but in this case the 7th. So if you did take it out the market, the 7th, unfortunately it just broke the low. But if you're in it still, then you know, you have another half an hour at least. It just broke the low again. So how's that pound doing? Wow. Yeah, that's why I don't like the pound breaks, as I said. Whew. What a retrace. Look at that. 40 pip move up from that break of the bottom. Ha! Never trust breaks on the pound, you know, right at the first hour. I've learned that lesson. Wow. The euro pound must be moving down like crazy then. Yep. Yet again. Wow. To be honest, I was really thinking this time it's going to break. This time it's going to break. And nope, triple top and moving down again. And yet another range trade that works. I'm not a range trader, so I'm looking for the break of these lines. But I mean, look at that. Again, just like here we had bounces. Just staying in that range. Wow. That's really impressive. Funky stuff. So yeah, the pound kind of iffy now. It broke the high of the Asian session, right? Which is starting to look like that move down was a false move, to be honest, in a way. And maybe if we stay above high for 1.5 hours, we can maybe see actually one more move up. But I wouldn't be interested in that counter trend. I would only be looking for a reversal somewhere at these fibs, actually, to be honest. But this move up could be a false move too, and we can move back right in this zone in the middle, and I've done nothing. And it could have been like a false move down, false move up, and back right at the equilibrium hard line. That's possible too. Really funky, isn't it? The pound? Isn't that crazy? So that's why waiting for a break, retest, continuation is good. You know, usually. Euro has moved down nicely, but pound definitely doing the opposite. Let's take a look at, keep an eye on the yen. The yen broke, oh wow, the yen broke this low. So let's see how far it can go. Dollar Swiss hasn't moved anywhere. How's our New Zealand doing? We're New Zealand making that bounce here and bounce up. Alrighty. $92. It's a 30 pip stop loss. So if this candle closes in 1 minute, we'll have a fractal at the top as well. Let me zoom in. Let's just wait for this candle to finish. Should be like 30 seconds still. Yeah, I do, Brian, definitely. Yeah. Always do that. I always check all the time frames indeed. We'll talk about multiple time frames, as I said, later tonight, but I always do that. I've done, yeah, maybe not on this particular one, but that's because I know it by heart, basically. And I looked at the euro odd, that's why. Yeah, it is. That's why I'm keeping an eye on this 5-minute world. The only thing, it's closed. Okay. Well, maybe not now, but what I'm looking for is maybe a break of this. Well, it could be even now. Let's see, 1-minute world. I don't know. I would rather wait for probably a break of this. There's more likelihood of continuation. Looking like a good break. I mean, just to answer Brian, normally I do take a look at all time frames, uh, or I always check it, and you can see massive uptrend, right? Bigger consolidation, and we're breaking this trend line here. So that could be a good break and continuation here as well. All right. Many of these trend lines have been really awesome. On the Euro odd, Euro New Zealand pound odd, massive, a lot of trend line breaks for upside. This is a quite a sturdy correction, so it makes it a bit more trickier. But then again, it is a good trend line break. We do have a bit of a top here maybe to be aware of. So that's something we should be aware of. It could be a sideways zone in here as well. All right, and you were right at the top. That's something to be kind of cautious of. Otherwise, it could be a good break to the upside, just like the Euro odd has already done actually, right in here, right? Let's take a look at the day chart. Let's see, yesterday's high is at 168.16. It's moving down pretty fast here. Mark is saying 1 hour not good enough. Well, to be honest, this looks like a very good candle to me. That looks good enough. It's a good break. It's a good 1 hour close above the trend line, which is good enough for me, to be honest, usually speaking. The only thing that we have that resistance right in here where he stopped. That's the only thing that worries me. It's not really the candle, but the break of that resistance. Maybe that's what you mean too. I don't know. That could be. If so, I agree with you. If it's the candle, I would say for me it's good enough. It's the resistance that is iffy. And the fact that we could be in this consolidation zone like this. The 4 hour candle is good too. Look, nice 4 hour candle break here. But we broke the low here already, so scratch that idea. See, that's why I was a bit, definitely sometimes possible to take it here, but it's more risky, right? Because you do have, as I said, you have that risk it does this, which it's doing right now actually. So good we waited, or I waited at least. Break of this would have been a confirmation, that continuation at least, right? We're back to the zero line in the 5 minutes world. So let's see how that turns out. But the 50-minute AO is turning as well. So that could mean a bigger retrace as well on this time frame. So that means that basically, we could be doing something like this for a few hours and then get the next break. That could take still a long time. But the 50-minute world could continue still. Right? So that's a bit tricky. It's tricky, especially now that we are breaking last hour's low. I still think that this fib could be valid. It's just very unpleasant, the sideways box, maybe. That's the only thing. So I guess one way is waiting either for a 1 hour turn here, like this, and then break. So 1 hour price action signal, then you're trying to get the bigger move. Or let's monitor the 5-minute world and see once we get higher highs and higher lows on the 5-minute world, then it could be ready for the upside again. Mark is saying the pullback 4-hour resistance. Yeah, definitely, Mark. I totally agree with that. There's definitely 4-hour fractals right there where it stopped, just like the 4-hour fractals here. So that's definitely what makes it iffy. If we would have broken this 4-hour level and then hooked back, would have been probably better, for sure better. So absolutely agree with you. So it's going to be weighted there. That's out of the window for the moment. Euro is just moving on. Wow. What a fall. That was a very passive correction here. It does happen sometimes. So that was maybe that was actually this was a fractal here, but it just didn't appear because we broke it so fast. I didn't think about that. I was waiting for a fractal here, remember? But when we broke, we didn't have a fractal yet because we didn't have a high here yet. Because it broke that fast that normally you have more time. You have 2 candles here, you have a fractal, and then you can place the order. I didn't realize the fact that if it breaks that fast, of course, we have the fractal here, but only 10 minutes later, which means 5 minutes ago when we closed here, but then we were already too far to actually place it. So didn't think about that. Could have actually had an entry order here, but just assuming that the fractal would be here. I totally didn't realize that. That was actually the whole setup I was waiting for, but it escaped my attention because I was waiting for a fractal, but now it appeared, but now it's too late. That's stupid. Sorry about that, but that was actually the whole idea. The break, pullback, continuation. But yeah. If you took the euro yesterday, you're doing very well. What a fall. As I said, the 129.10 is a very likely percentage. It's really moving fast to that target. Wow. That's a massive, huh? Massive fall. How's the pound doing? Pound is broke the top and is now moving down. Surprise, surprise. Euro pound is falling like crazy. Aussie moving up a bit. How's that yen doing? Going down a lot. Wow, that's aggressive move down. That's funny. Dollar Swiss is hanging in there. So let's take a look at the others. Pound yen. Wow, that's a big fall, isn't it? Alrighty, that's so let's take a look if there's any maybe interesting opportunity. This is the day chart. Let's see. A bit iffy in a way. Does still have a major resistance right here. Moving up though now. Let's see. Put a trend channel maybe like this. Divergence between the tops. it's really, I don't know. It looks like a trend. Is the bear flag. It's kind of creepy to me, to be honest. Let's see if the fib would help us. 786 hit there. That could be a resistance spot. So let's see. It's moving down pretty fast. If it maybe breaks this this 151.25, it would be making a lower low. And if it makes a hook back, it makes a lower high. That could be maybe a sign that we're moving back down again. All right. Otherwise, this trend line could still be important for support. I don't know. It's in a spot that really doesn't interest me too much at the moment, to be honest. Not right here. The 4-hour world has moved up too much. It's bouncing off a triple top in 1 hour and 786. I don't know. Nothing that interests me. Let's take a look at the euro yen. Euro yen is probably moving down more indeed. Massive fall. We did have breaks of those trend lines. Then again, we didn't break the top orange line, which was a key resistance as well. I think I said it here, didn't I? That the euro yen was moving up to a level that I doubt that it breaks. Not sure if I said it here or if I told some of my friends, but certainly looks like that. Same story really as the pound yen. The euro CAD I wanted to talk to you about. If you took the trade with me a while back based on the daily chart, and you took the break of the trend line that was something like around here, I think something like that. Not sure how the weekly trend line looks like. Anyhow, it was a break upon this high at around the current price. I've moved it to break even. I'm probably taking out. The reason why is the fact that we had a break here of this. Basically, we had to move up, a hook back to 382 fib, and a bounce and break, right? So it's like a break, pullback, continuation. So I took the continuation, and the entry was above the B. Actually, after that, which would have been a lot better entry, was we made, if we fib this move up, we actually had a 618 bounce here, but anyhow, that's a different story. We did continue after that 618. So it's like it was a enormous move up, pullback, continuation, pullback, continuation, right? And then we hooked back again to the bigger top, which was, I'll put a blue box there, right in here, right? We had a trend line, the orange line probably, and the blue box where we hooked back and then bounced again, which is fine, right? Because you get these breaks, pullbacks, continuations all time frames. So you had a smaller break, pullback, continuation with the first arrow and the second arrow as well, right? So that's fine. I was still cool with that. But the problem was that the second C here didn't break the bigger top. Within 6 days, that was yesterday was the 6th day candle that didn't break the top. And then an alarm clock a warning signal is going off in my mind that that's taking way too long to break the top. There's not enough power to the upside, and a bigger retrace is likely. And especially if you see yesterday's candle. So after yesterday's candle, at the end of yesterday's trading day, I moved it to break even. And I would recommend the same for you, all right? Or if you took that trade. I don't know if anyone took it here, but probably not. But that was a massive intraday or position trade actually that took 2 weeks to materialize for break even. That's the risk you have with those trades. But it's good if you're working full time, because you can keep an eye on those day charts, right? But the reason why I moved it now is everything to do with time factor. And the reason why I was comfortable with allowing the trade to materialize at the beginning is I knew that even if it dips here, it's going to find support because of this fractal and move up. All right. If it didn't break this high fast, I would get worried. But it did break the high. I kept making daily highs. So that's good. I knew the time factor was on my side and the trade was materializing. It hit the 272's target. Then it made a bigger retrace. That's fine too. I knew that it was hooking back to tops and a broken trend line. All right. But then if it moves up and then it doesn't break within 6 days, I know that the trade doesn't make sense anymore. All the characteristics and all the ideas of that trade are not valid anymore. We've had a lot of price action ever since, and the price didn't go all too far at the first break, to be honest. The pullback was okay, but then there was no continuation. So in that regard, moving it to break even and getting stopped out here is fine because the time factor didn't allow it. That's why I always leave space for the trade at the beginning of the time, and if it materializes quickly, great. If it takes too long, I'm out. Or if it goes but then takes too long, I'm out as well. So there's that's how I trail stop using time factor, and it's a difficult thing to learn, I think, and to get a feeling for. That's why a lot of people just say I wait for my target to be hit or I lose. I don't go to break even. The reason why they do that is because they're tempted. Some people are tempted to, for example, when this is moving their way, to move it to break even. That would be too early, clearly, because you can get a hook back, bounce, and break, and you move to break even. You get taken out for break even, and the trade still goes your way. That's what happens to a lot of traders. When the trade moves their way, they move to +1, it gets taken out, and then it goes their way. Or the opposite happens. The trade moves their way, they don't move to break even, and they get taken out like this. And they think, why? And the reason all has to do with the relationship between price and time. Price will move up a certain distance. We talked about it yesterday. And the stop loss is here, and the entry is here. Right? So you want to catch that first move up. But if you don't catch your profit there, and then the trade takes like this, you get taken out. All right? So you want to catch that part, not this entire part, for the break. Other things would happen is, for example, you get a break, pull back, a continuation, but the continuation fails, and you give too much time, and then it drops against you. That's giving too much time. So often it's too little time, because within the break you don't give enough space for the break to materialize, or you give too much space to the break continuation, pullback continuation, and it fails, and you get taken out. So that's often the two most common things with time factor. But if you can find that balance, it will really help you, I think. Alrighty, so let's move on. But Brian has a question here actually regarding the background. You can go right-click, go to Properties, Background, white color. All right. Click here in the right lower corner. You can change the color. All right. Let's see. Mark took a short and still in the euro dollar. That's great, Mark. Awesome job. And let's see. Brian says that he's here the first time. Great. Welcome, Brian. Happy to have you here. I hope that you join more often. Definitely. We'll be back. Basically, that's valid for everyone. Back next week, Tuesday, right? On the 9th of July. Glad you're enjoying it. So let's move on. Now you can see the euro CAD is really moving a lot. Eh? Wow, look at the euro New Zealand fall. That's really unexpected. Then again, probably has to do really with that range element. That's why it's good to have trend lines. It's always good to be aware of 4-hour fractals and 4-hour levels, because that's what can turn. That's the thing with that. So I'm always careful with trend lines and how much distance I have to 4-hour levels like this, because that's where they can turn into a big sideways move. That's what happened right here. And it's just moving to the next low. Amazing. That's trend lines are good, but you have to be careful of those tops and bottoms, those major 4-hour resistances. Alrighty, let's take a look at something else. We looked at the yen's. Wow, yen really moving a lot. Huh? Approaching that daily low. Let's see if we get the bounce here. 5-minute world, really impressive. down move. That's crazy. That's a 100 pip down move in an hour. I don't know that. Now it seems kind of weird to me. I mean, I wanted to retrace, but let's see. I'm not touching it until I get some 5-minute bounce here, at least like that. All right. Euro dollar is getting a bounce. How about the Aussie? Aussie looks like it's getting the bounce, to be honest. This is the 2, 4, 6th candle. If it makes a dip here, Mark, I would take it off personally. That would be me. That's, I think, is pretty. Yeah, I would think that would be a good take profit, to be honest. What else do we have going on? The pound still above Asian high, but kind of moving back into that zone, right? The daily Asian high and Asian low. And what else? Swiss C is about to break, actually. That could be a good break. Although it's funny that the euro dollar moved so much and the dollar Swiss didn't move to the upside. It's kind of weird, but that could be a good break. Anywhere above these tops. And a stop loss here. And then the target, well, let's see what the target would be. 95. Yeah, this 4-hour support is a bit close by, to be very honest. It's only 13 pips, so it's a bit iffy. Then again, because it's such a strong uptrend, I think, to be honest, I think that this 4-hour fractal won't serve that much headache. It's a bit different because it's set in an uptrend so much, with a nice conservative, not a strange correction. It's just a very mild correction. Then I think the resistance level will not be that important, but it is close. What else were we looking at? Dollar CAD. The dollar CAD has been making nice breaks, right? We had a break here. Let me show you. Break here. Break here. Pull back here. Another break / continuation, because there was a trend line here as well. Both actually. And then we had again pullback. Then we had another break, continuation. This was looking like a pullback too, right, in here. But it's not moving that far, that fast as yet. So maybe we'll get one more move down and up. That could be interesting, though, for upside. The only thing that I don't like is maybe the fact that we do have a bit of a wick here. I don't know. We didn't close above this level. We only have a wick there. That's scary a bit. That could mean that we're going to break this trend line and move to the downside. A bit tricky here. Also, this fast move down is not so pleasant, so it could be the opposite. Fast move down, retracement, move. I'm not interested in the downside. It's counter trend, only upside. But the upside might not happen in this case, although it happened, although we had great breaks in here, right? Let's see. The euro odd could be better, actually. The euro odd already broke the 4-hour fractal and broke the trend line as well. So that, in a way, in the euro odd might be a bit better. Let's put a fib on it. We're right at 382. So any of these fibs could be the bouncing spot. That could be maybe good for the upside. Better set than the euro New Zealand because we broke that 4-hour fractal, okay? How about the pound odd 2? Also the pound odd. Same story. All right, that wraps it up, I guess. Let's see. Last look at pound is moving down again. So that looks like more and more like a false break too. Maybe this was false. This was false. We'll stay hanging around here and then a fall. The trend is down. So eventually the currency is going to have to choose. Normally it does choose a how do you call it? A move, sustainable move. And sometimes it does make 2 false moves and then the continuation. Because this is a downtrend, the most likely sustainable move would be to the downside, right? So, and let's see, what would I be looking for? But a 1 hour candle is still a bit iffy here, right? So it's not definitely not set up yet. You can look at this. We have engulfing 1 hour candles. So downside is definitely not set up. This could be retraced for upside too. So but it's in a downtrend. So it's very iffy right now, to me at least. I would probably really want to. It's difficult. 50 pip touch definitely would, or 618. Those are resistance levels, no doubt. Probably if it lingers here really too long. That's the only way. Otherwise, there must be maybe some good, because of this bullish price action it's difficult to estimate it now, but it's difficult. I really don't know how. It's difficult to look in the future. Probably if it really stays here 2 hours and then breaks and falls. I guess that would be the best measurement, to be honest. Or a bigger retrace, one of the two. Or if it really moves back under this level and stays here 2 hours as well. Something like that. It's tricky now at the moment, but we'll have to see. Euro looks like we got 20 minutes now above the low, which means we could be making a retrace. And one more break of this low, that's possible. 129.10 is the major level, right? That's the 886. So one more fall is possible. Then we'll probably see a bigger retrace like that. And then probably one more fall, maybe, who knows. But that's a different story, all right? But let's see. This is 20. We'll find out. This is basically, you have to wait. It's a break within now and 10 minutes, or it probably will make that bigger fall. We did already make a substantial move down, like 60 pips. Set up later on because the pound too, and then it broke the bigger level, and we had later on New York a good trade. But now I just don't see anything really that catches my attention. Probably the pound still. I think it's very nicely set for a down move. It's just a question of where and when to catch it. And the euro still has space to the 86, right? So that could happen too. It doesn't have much space, but probably will make that fall still. Maybe the yen still bouncing off that yesterday's daily low. I don't know. Maybe the euro odd hook back here and bounce. That could be maybe something later on today. Or pound odd. Those are probably, yeah, that sums it up, I guess. So let's see, one more question here. The AO from Brian and Adrian, that's the awesome oscillator. You just go to Insert, Indicators, Awesome Oscillator, right? Or Bill Williams, Awesome Oscillator. Bill Williams has great indicators just in general. There you'll find the fractals and Awesome Oscillator. Yes, my preference is AO over MACD indeed. And why? Because I use it for any wave readings and where to place the fibs. Let's take a look. This is the euro-dollar 1 hour on both charts, okay? Let's take a look at that. The MACD, we have basically this blue histogram going under the red line, right? That's indicating some bit of a retracement there. But for me, if you look at the same area, there's a lot more information I could read on the MACD, on the AO, Awesome Oscillator in the meantime. I could see that there's clearly, let me take a look again. I can easily see there's divergence between these bottoms, and I can see that this move down is clearly one leg, looking at the MACD. I said awesome oscillator, right? Because I'm looking for zero line to zero line. And then I know that this is one move down, and I can fib that on the 1 hour chart. I know there's some divergence, and then we can therefore, because of this divergence between the red circles, get some retracements. So I can use fibs for that. I can use added wave theory for that, and counting of the waves. I don't know if anyone does that. I can use divergences easily here. I think easier to read. I can use zero line movements. Back to the zero line is always very important. I know that if it does divergence, there's a high chance of going back to moving averages. So those are the main things I like about it. And in the meantime, you can see we had bullish hidden divergence between these tops a bit. All right. And also, for example, on the 500 world, I can see, like the Aussie, that when a move is ready, or when it's over, when the impulse move is over, like the euro here, this is probably rounding now. You can see. So that's why. All right, great. That's, probably you could do a lot of the MACD too, but it's just I'm used to that, and that's my personal preference. And I have that, I think, that extra advantages compared to MACD, but probably could achieve this. Maybe you could achieve the same with the MACD. Probably you could, but I'm just used to this as well. And some of you maybe don't look at the other waves, but it just gives me a bit more information regarding when a move is ready, because of that retracement to the zero line and the way that the AO is built. All right, so let's see. Thank you so much for being here. All right, cool, Graham. Well, we'll actually have a webinar on indicators sometime soon, somewhere this month, and I'll be talking about the AO because that's my main indicator. So I'll be talking about that. That'll be this month. So if you can't make it, it'll be recorded. So no problem, right? Otherwise, it will be probably on a Thursday as usual. Although today is the exception. On a Wednesday, we'll talk about multiple time frames. All right. Yeah, definitely many things to try indeed, Brian. That's great. I'm happy you're learning the AO and fibs. That's great. Okay, cool, Graham. Definitely. Awesome stuff. We can so I'll see you all on Tuesday. All right. Thanks. Thanks, Graham. Cheers, everyone. Brian, I see you're right tomorrow, but it's actually let's say 7 hours 35 minutes from now. Okay. Just let you know about that. It's usually on Thursday indeed, but today's the exception. It's on Wednesday. Cheers, everyone.
the organ